All right, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started, just to be mindful of wrap up. And we've got some good events tonight that we want to make sure you all get to. So without further ado, we have, at the ecosystem, launched a series of subcommittees that are focused on different building blocks. And we have just incredible partners and this incredible group of ladies leading those subcommittees. So we're going to do rapid fire updates. They are going to each get 3 minutes. So we'll see how good my pitching coaches do with 3 minutes to talk about their work. So without further ado, I'm going to throw it over to the Tamarack Foundation for the Arts, which spearheads our arts subcommittee.
All right, can everybody hear me okay? Okay, wonderful. So thank you so much for having us here at the Bridging Innovation Conference. I'm Domenica Queen. I'm with the Tamarack Foundation for the Arts, and I want to tell you a little bit about some of our members. Our subcommittee roster, we have just formed this subcommittee and had our first official meeting at the end of March. The subcommittee includes Dave Lavender, Sandra Reed, Cabria James, Brene Staunton, Jamie Lester, Ann Cavalier, Angelica Gillerin, Hannah Lenhart, Monica Jansen, and Joe Strecce. We're really proud to have such a varied collection of individuals to discuss creative network resources and opportunities that we're going to be gathering. So we are heading up the Arts Entrepreneurship Subcommittee, and we're doing a lot of need sensing around what resources are already available for entrepreneurships, support for arts businesses, and we're also looking to sense for gaps for programs that we can provide and resources that we can create, and these are going to be assembled into an online platform. So in order to discover what focus areas we needed to have for our entrepreneurship support services, over the past couple of years, with assistance from WVEE, as well as our program manager, Candy Workman, we have developed some listening sessions, and we have been doing extensive surveying across the state. So it has helped us develop the following subjects that we're focusing on in these committee meetings. So we're having conversations around pairs of subjects, and so we're going to be pulling those subjects together around the topic of arts entrepreneurship. We also are going to be working to create a new platform for an existing network of artists. We have the West Virginia Creative Network. That is a directory of artists that are currently on our website. It is 530 members strong right now, and we're looking on doubling that over the next 3 years with this creative network expansion and with the support of the subcommittee work. So our vision is to connect artists across all sectors, making it easier for communities, businesses, and organizations to leverage the creative talent in the state while supporting the artists. And I'm very happy to hear about service providers in the area that feel like they would fill the niche of serving artists in the region. So the committee convenes monthly right now. We identify resources and gaps around a pair of focus areas at a time. Our most recent meeting was around storytelling and marketing to kick us off. We're collecting existing resources, and we're distributing those resources to artists with our current tools, but also in an expanded nexus of information that has been vetted for artists and artist entrepreneurs. I am not sure of my time right now, so I'm going to wrap it up quickly because I could go on about topics I love like this. You can contact me at dqueen@tamarackfoundation.org if you are an entrepreneurship service provider that would like to work with artists, if you are an organization, a government, or a business that would like to tap into the creative power of the state of West Virginia. And with that, I will pass it along.
Good afternoon. I'm Michelle O'Connor, and I'm with the Inova Commercialization Group, and I'm the subcommittee chair of the Capital Subcommittee. This is our roster, and you can see it is vast and deep, and so we're always looking for new members. And we had some very interesting conversations that came out of our initial meeting to after the survey came out. And what was interesting is what we thought we knew isn't actually what the survey revealed. So what we found was over 40% of those that answered the survey needed either startup funding or expansion funding, which, that's pretty obvious. But the number one issue that we found from the respondents was they did not know where to go or who to talk to. So what that told all of us who are in the funding sector is, well, we don't do a very good job of telling all of you who we are and what we do. So we went back and talked about how we're going to better market ourselves. And then we found that entrepreneurs just didn't know how to calculate what they need. So what that told us is we're not doing a very good job of helping entrepreneurs truly understand their journey and where they need to go whenever they have an idea. And that, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on the perspective that you have, most fund their small businesses with savings or money from friends and family, which we hope they pay back, because if not, it's a very awkward Thanksgiving. So what we've identified are growth opportunities. And the first one is promotion. We need to make sure that we as service providers are promoting ourselves. We're promoting what we do, where we are, that we are open for conversations, that there is no wrong question, that there is no wrong answer, that we are here to help you on your journey no matter where you are in that journey, be it startup, expansion, whatever that is. And the second opportunity is education. We need to provide and connect anybody that contacts us to those resources to better provide you the education that you need. So, our solution. We're talking about an entry point for entrepreneurs to find resources for capital. There are already those resources in the state, be it Business Link or others, but we want to make sure that there's a single entry point, that not necessarily a single entry point, but a place for you to start and just have that conversation. And that we need to connect capital providers to this portal so that they are then marketing themselves and the entrepreneurs then know where you can find them. So our next steps, let's talk about the portal. How can we get anybody into this ecosystem? Lots of on-ramps. We don't care which on-ramp you get on as long as you're there. And then we are going to connect capital resources to these resources to all of the entrepreneurs that we can. If you want to get involved, like I said, we've got a very large group of people, but we will always take more. And with that, I will turn it over to Next.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I am Ariana. I am the West Virginia advocate for Right to Start. I really want to thank Valerie Bernard, who originally won this grant, despite the fact that I'm the one sitting up here. She was an incredible champion of mine and my co-chair throughout this project, and has been really, really wonderful to work with. Our subcommittee roster has been incredible to work with. We've had some really great people from all around the state, tons of different sectors, resource providers, entrepreneurs themselves. We even had a mayor in here. And so thank you to all of you as well who participated. Our key findings on the regulatory and government side, actually, interestingly, differing from Michelle's findings, really reaffirmed what we believed and what I think a lot of us have talked about today and heard about today. And that is, we heard from entrepreneurs across the state that they had a few major barriers in terms of regulatory and government issues, bureaucratic issues to starting and running their businesses. Those were fragmented information and regulatory hurdles. Everything is very siloed. We actually, in West Virginia, have a ton of resources available, but a lot of people don't know where to go. We found that the vast majority of people look to Google and don't find what they're looking for. And interestingly, the second most used resource is friends and family, is reaching out to people within your network and trying to find the people who do know and who have found these resources through their own hard work. So there is a desire for unified frameworks. There's a desire for the ecosystem to continue to build and create these frameworks that we can all utilize and learn from and use as we build our businesses and as we interact with each other, which leads to opportunity for ecosystem enhancements. There's a huge demand. People love the ecosystem, people are excited about it, and people want more. People want this to continue to expand. There's a potential for transformation here, greater than the potential for really anything else. There is a huge opportunity. There's a huge gap in our system that I think is very, very possible to be filled by the ecosystem, by resources, by providers, by the people in this room. Two of our biggest identified growth opportunities are a simplification of regulatory and government processes and an increased availability of resources and information, both of which I think are continuing to be accomplished, again, by the people in this room, which is really amazing. We're already working towards a lot of this. Our solution from our subcommittee, number one, is to simplify the processes and increase the availability of information for entrepreneurs by creating a comprehensive checklist. We were tasked with starting our project in an at-risk community, or an at-risk county within West Virginia. We started in Wayne County. And so you'll see in a minute, we created a mostly comprehensive checklist for entrepreneurs in Wayne County who want to start and then operate a business. It turned out to be almost 50 pages long. And after a lot of work, again, I say almost comprehensive because a lot of the resources, even for us coming into this, I own a business in Wayne County, and it was still difficult to find and understand exactly what needed to go into that. Number two is, as I collected the data for this checklist, what I did is I made a giant spreadsheet where I tracked not only the steps that everyone has to take to start a business in Wayne County, but I tracked how difficult it was to find those steps, how hard it was for me as an entrepreneur in Wayne County and as someone with the funding to take on this project to find and to get through this process. And I hope to leverage that data for future projects to say, here's how hard it is for entrepreneurs. Here are the steps that are really difficult to find. Here's why it's hard to understand if you're being compliant, no matter how hard you try. So that's our two-step solution. My ask for you is to scan this QR code and check out this version of the checklist. And I might really be getting my email inbox in danger here. But if you go through this and you see that there are steps missing, again, this checklist is specifically for Wayne County. However, the vast majority of these steps do apply to the rest of the state. And the idea is to take this and make it a statewide available resource. We started in Wayne County so that we could establish this, but I would love to make this a statewide resource. We've worked with Doug Harper at the SBDC, who's been incredibly helpful. And I would love for you all to take a look at this and let me know if you see things that are missing or could be amended. Or I put a couple notes in there. For example, I went to file a DBA last year, and the process that I was asked to go through via email was completely different than the process that they actually list on the website. So any personal notes, any anecdotes, any missing steps, I would absolutely love for you to send to me. And anybody who's interested in getting involved, please feel free and reach out. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. My name's Carrie White, and I am half of Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Experts over there with my co-founder, Tara St. Clair, and we were in charge of the talent subcommittee for the survey that hopefully y'all got to complete. Before I jump to that, the roster, as the other rosters that you have seen, was really comprehensive, and I want to thank personally everyone who participated in this. You can see the organizations there. We had a couple of different people from each of these organizations, which was really nice, but gave us a very comprehensive look at the two questions that we're really seeking around talent in West Virginia, and that is, how do we recruit and how do we retain entrepreneurs here in the state of West Virginia? So the key findings from both the survey as well as the one-on-one interviews that we did with many entrepreneurs was businesses want to come to West Virginia. We got a lot of very positive responses from the surveys as well as our one-to-one interviews on people who've come here and started their businesses as part of the several programs that we have going on right now. So that was a real positive. Businesses see positive movement in the West Virginia entrepreneurship ecosystem, as has been reported by some of the other subcommittees. The ecosystem really is helping to support entrepreneurship experts as well as the resource providers that support them. There is opportunity for responsiveness from state and private resource providers. Again, as has been said by the other subcommittees, we need to do a better job, all of us collectively, responding to the needs of entrepreneurs, finding the resources that they need so that they can have the energy and the expertise to run their businesses rather than spending all their time seeking resources to help them. So we really are looking to help provide more support from resource providers. And then we need better access for travel and family support, which was really an eye-opener, which should have been common sense, but it was kind of an eye-opener for us around the things that surround entrepreneurs. So I'll get to that. Identified growth opportunities. One is to create an easier process for entrepreneurs to start and stay in West Virginia. And that was something that we really want to start building out, these systems that are replicated all over the state where we attract, but not just attract. We have things to support entrepreneurs so that they can stay and grow. I think the biggest one for us was provide a 360-degree support system for entrepreneurs. Historically, entrepreneurs have been viewed as there's this one entity, this one person that wants to come here and start a business. But as you all know, entrepreneurs have family, they have friends, they have education, they have healthcare needs. There's a lot that goes into supporting entrepreneurs, and we need to create a system that provides support for the whole unit, not just the one business. So that was a big eye-opener for us that we're going to work on as a growth opportunity. And then finally, our solutions to create a 360 entrepreneurial support system. We're going to need funding for that. So we're going to be working on seeking some funding that will support those types of systems. And two, we need to streamline every process and accountability into the ecosystem by having a point person. Somebody mentioned it earlier in a session, and I thought it was really important to note that having that one point person to where any entrepreneur in a region can say, I'm going to go to this person, whether it's a private entity, a state entity, whoever that person is, but that person will help me navigate the waters. That will be, my shepherd, what have you. And so, again, we're going to be working on systems that support that. We would love to have you involved with our talent subcommittee if you're interested. Our mine and Tara's contact information is there, and we're also going to be here throughout the conference in the week. So please, if you're interested in being involved, reach out to one of us, and we'll get you on our list. So thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Prinzo with WVEE Extension, and I am the chair of the Youth Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Committee. Our committee roster includes two groups. So in order to successfully engage youth, we want to make sure that they're involved in the planning process for the ecosystem. So we're engaging youth from these 6 counties with support from the Benedum Foundation that are in 6th through 12th grade, serving on the committee and participating in activities at their local school site with their teacher. So in addition to that, we have several folks on the committee from WVU Extension, county-based faculty, teachers from the partnering school sites, and then many of the economic development partners that have been part of this process for quite a long time. So some key findings, we were fortunate to receive funding from the Appalachian Regional Commission to do a year-long process of research and strategic planning and talk to over 600 kids in surveys and focus groups and hosted statewide meetings with a team of folks, many of who are here in the room with us today, and gained some really great insights from that process related to youth entrepreneurship. So we learned that opportunities for youth in West Virginia are limited. The majority of them are coordinated at the statewide level, which creates barriers to participation for our rural youth. Current policies and practices, many of which have been identified, may limit the growth of entrepreneurship opportunities for our youth. And then overall youth, while simultaneously not necessarily understanding the terms related to entrepreneurship, do express high interest in entrepreneurship as a career pathway or business ownership or ideation-themed careers. And then youth and adults lack a common understanding of the term entrepreneurship. So when you talk to kids and adults, what they see as entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial skills vary significantly. Identified opportunities for growth. One, which we feel is low-hanging fruit, is to integrate entrepreneurship into existing locally coordinated youth development programs. West Virginia has a rich network of programming across the state, engaging kids in school, after school, summer programming that are accessing our rural youth. And we are looking for opportunities to just integrate entrepreneurship content and themes into those programs. So second, intentionally include youth voice in statewide planning efforts. Third, reduce stereotypes relating to entrepreneurship. Kids think of entrepreneurs as, the Shark Tank. That came up quite a bit in the focus group discussions. People in suits in a very formal setting. So looking at ways to kind of bust those stereotypes. Work together to pursue funding for expansion. Again, there's so many great things going on across the state, so we hope this committee can help to connect those dots and leverage opportunities for funding. Advocate for specific policies and practices that could promote growth, and then conduct further research, especially aimed at how we define the impact of youth entrepreneurship programming to be able to communicate that clearly to funders as well. So the solution, our committee is working together to address policy change, foster collaboration across groups, and provide education and support to youth development providers. In 2024, we're looking to engage diverse stakeholders in this conversation and planning process, including youth themselves, identify and collaboratively pursue funding for expansion of opportunities, and then, again, look at partnering directly with various youth service providers on how we can start integrating this content into their existing programming and work that's being done across the state. So if you are interested in getting involved, we'd love to have you, and feel free to contact me to get involved or to learn more. Thank you.
At this time, we would like to welcome up the final panel, Roz, Brandon, Jacob, Amber. Hello, can you hear me now? Okay, I'm not going to get on the stage. I feel like we're in a weird, I want to look at you when I talk to you. All right, so welcome to the final panel. This is it. We are so excited to have you guys. Can we go ahead and start by some just brief introductions? So Roz, can we start with you?
Good afternoon, everyone. So the microphone's not turned on. Whenever you turn them on, give them 2 seconds.
Okay, so go ahead and turn them all on.
Check.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rosalind Bradshaw, and I am the founder and CEO of Bougie Boards by Roz, which is a locally owned catering business that offers charcuterie, grazing boards, grazing boxes. We are located in Huntington, West Virginia, and we serve the tri-state area. What inspired me to start Bougie Boards was my love for culinary and my love for art as well. I graduated from Marshall, worked in the healthcare field for 20 years, and in 2020, I decided to launch the business, and I was hesitant at first, to be honest, because I thought, do people in this area even know what charcuterie is? Can they pronounce it? But I took a leap of faith and launched the business, and I'm truly passionate about everything we do. We offer anything from a single-serve charcuterie cup to a grazing table that serves thousands of people. I'm trying to think. Have workshops that we offer as well. Some of our services that we offer are workshops, which is where you come and we will teach you how to create your own charcuterie board. Trying to think. Okay, wonderful.
My name is Brandon. I'm Vice President for Economic Workforce Development at Marshall University, and I'm also the founder of Coalfield Development, which is a group in southern West Virginia many of you may know. I sort of know what charcuterie is, but I'd be happy to learn more.
Howdy, y'all. My name is Jacob Hanna. I'm the incoming CEO as of January 1 for Coalfield Development, so taking over Brandon's previous role, working closely together on this new structure in our new roles, so that's really exciting. Based here in Huntington for our work, do a lot of workforce development, but you'll probably hear more about that soon.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all again. I'm Amber Ravenscroft. I'm the co-chair of the ecosystem, but for my day job and the job that I love and have a passion for at my heart, I am the Director of Innovation for the Adventure Group. It's a K-12 education entity based out of Morgantown that does a lot around innovation and education. And so that's going to be what I speak to today is my education heart.
I love it. Thank you, guys. Okay, so I'm going to lean into one of the questions Tony asked earlier. So why West Virginia and why now? So maybe connect the dots a little bit about what you're doing and why West Virginia and what you're doing right now. So Amber, let's start on this end.
I knew it. So why West Virginia? I think I'm going to ask why not. I think the state is just primed for this type of opportunity. I say this all the time, we are entrepreneurial by nature. We come from the artisans, the makers, and in the small town communities. 98% of our communities are small, our businesses are small. So West Virginia is just meant to be the entrepreneurial leader in the country, and I firmly believe that. And why now? I think the people in the room are why now. Like the energy here, the connection you feel. To me, I think it's pretty evident why now, just because of things like this and what we've got going.
Yeah, anyone else?
Yeah, I'll say, growing up in Mingo County, there weren't a lot of opportunities there. And so it's changing what we would view as a personal motto I live by is opportunities in greatest supply where there often is none. And so when you come from a region like that, you look at it on paper and you think there is no opportunity here. But I think that's quickly flipping on its head, where you look at something like, there's 800,000 acres of abandoned mine land that need addressed, or our grid is 89% powered by coal. It's all these things that feel like aren't going to change, but there's enough innovation and funding that's changing that landscape to turn those liabilities into assets, to where now we are seeing, 2 weeks ago, we had the announcement of $129 million for solar on top of mine lands in Nicholas County. We have a green bank that's coming that's going to focus on investing in rural communities for coal community transition. So the things that we would have written off as like, don't invest in that, that's risky, is now the thing that attracts funding. So I think that's the why now.
Love it.
Yeah, very well said. One of my favorite things about West Virginia is it's still a distinctive place. So Victor mentioned that this morning, if you caught one of the factors of entrepreneurship that's come up more in recent times is place. And we still like to make things here. We have great music. We quilt. We grow food. We have a beautiful landscape. And I hope we keep that. I think we are primed for entrepreneurship and economic development, but I hope we stay uniquely ourselves as well, and we don't just turn into another strip mall, with the same 5 stores that are in every place you go everywhere.
I agree with what you said. I do believe there's a demand for a different type of businesses in this area, and especially in the culinary services. I think that West Virginia, we have a wonderful state, a beautiful state, and there's a lot of new opportunities here and a lot of funding that has become available that can help small businesses or large businesses as well grow and succeed. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are here with the West Virginia entrepreneurship ecosystem, and we all play different roles. Some of us wear many hats, right? So can you guys explain what role you play in the ecosystem? I know we've got some educators, we have some boots on the ground entrepreneurs. So maybe, Brandon, can we just start with you? What role do you play in the ecosystem, and why is that important?
Well, only one of us literally wears a hat, so I don't know if like it would make more sense to. But for Marshall University, I think there's 2 ways to answer that. One, we have a student body of 11,000 students, some in person, some online, some undergraduate, some graduate. And part of our mission is to ignite this sense of possibility to ignite the skill sets, to ignite the passions that our students have, and then to nurture that towards a career or possibly towards a startup. I think our iCenter does that very, very well. We've incorporated design thinking. Every single freshman now has deep training in design thinking. But the second layer of that, so obviously with our students, but then we're really embracing under Brad's leadership our role as an economic engine for Huntington, for Southern West Virginia, for the state, and for the region. And so that means, I think, really becoming more outward facing. We've got to do a great job with our students, but then we've also got to bridge out into the community and work with entrepreneurs and businesses, both that are here and that want to be here, to be that resource and to make those connections. And so that's what we're leaning into.
Absolutely. I like the word ignite as well, so thanks for that. Roz, what role do you play in the ecosystem?
Being an entrepreneur, the role that I play in the ecosystem is to aspire growth and for new businesses and to support other local businesses as well, to share knowledge and not only support them by attending events, but on social media platforms. And I think this is important because it allows us to help their businesses grow, and when we support one another, we help the businesses, sustain in our community.
Yeah, I'm loving the support. I'm feeling a lot of love between the entrepreneurs and helping each other out and reaching out and lending a hand to each other. So I love hearing that. Amber, from the adventure group side, what would you say?
Yeah, I think we heard a common thread today that it all starts with education, and I truly believe that this is something that needs to be integrated K-12, early education, to build that pipeline. I often say that youth are our biggest export sometimes, and we want to be able to empower them to stay in their communities and work. And in our rural communities, schools are often our biggest employer, and so they are the foundation of those communities. And if we can educate them as a student population, we're also educating their families, the greater community, about the power of entrepreneurship. So to me, I think that education pipeline and enabling that and instilling that as a key factor in the ecosystem is essential.
Yeah, absolutely. Big education fan. All right, Jacob, what's going on at Coalfield? Tell us, buddy.
You got an hour? We incubate.
We do not.
We incubate. So the things I was mentioning earlier that maybe other sectors don't want to dive into immediately is where we feel we're well positioned. So, if you grew up like me, 5 years ago there wasn't a single solar installation company in the region. Now there's several, and that is part and parcel to the incubation strategy that we've helped take with folks like Solar Holler, which is unionized. It's done their 1400th solar installation. They've got over 100 employees. And then you take a more slower approach as well. If something isn't as taking off as quick as you want it, but still provides a good and incubates other enterprises and helps with a social good like healthy food access systems through Refresh or reclaiming abandoned mine lands, it's an entrepreneurial mindset that is patient to say, I'm not going to pressure you to get into a profit margin in 2 years because I know you're changing an entire ecosystem, not just a community. You're trying to lay a landscape to bring in other businesses and other training aspects to where I'm okay with that. I can be patient with that. And in fact, if I can't just throw money at you, I'll put you in an incubation space to where I can reduce the costs. I can put a solar array on our building that offsets the energy costs. We can capture our rainwater to cut off your water costs and try and reduce the barriers to that incubation in a region that doesn't always incentivize that innovative thinking and that approach.
Wow, you're knocking my socks off here. I'm loving it. I'm energized. I'm ready to go.
Hats off to him.
You're hilarious. Wow. Pat yourself on the back. That was good. Okay. So my next question I want to ask specifically to my entrepreneurs, but can I just do something really quick? If you're an entrepreneur resource provider, so if you help entrepreneurs in any way, can you raise your hand right now? Wow. Look at that. I love it. Okay, so we have a lot of people in this room that want to help entrepreneurs succeed. So what can we do as an ecosystem to better support you at the local level? So Roz, I'll send that one to you first.
So, in my opinion, the ecosystem can better support entrepreneurs through capital. A lot of capital in the form of financial grants, in the form of loans, in the form of any type of financial incentive. Many entrepreneurs have a great startup idea, although they don't know where to begin or how to connect with the proper resources that are needed to have a successful and effective and efficient business.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a show of hands, capital people. Where are my capital? I know we had a whole panel on it. We got a lot of capital people in the room right here. Okay, Jacob, what do you think? How can we help you? How can we help your entrepreneurs?
The time piece is important, the patience there for us. I mean, you're truly trying to change a mono economy to a diversified economy. So there's just going to be growth and pains with that. I think another thing, too, is, traditionally on the get-go, our model was to sort of like build it and folks will come to us. And that works to a degree, but we're really trying to be more proactive with that outreach instead. Entrepreneurs they're problem solvers. And so maybe they're not always going to a model that is just entrepreneurial, but they're thinking on how to solve a problem hyper-locally. And so how can I go to that community in that region where those problems are and come with the toolkits rather than saying, well, you got to come to me. I've got all the tools, you come to me. I'll bring the tools to you, and let's make it hyper-based, hyper-local to your region, your issues, and your change agents to where you don't have to drive all the way from Logan to Huntington to get those resources. I can bring that to you instead and make that last because it's local.
Yeah.
If I can build off that a little bit, I think a distinction I've found myself thinking about over the course of the day is we need more availability of resources, but then how do we convert that availability into access? And we need more promotion of what's available. How do we get more at the grassroots to meet people where they are, people who are not in this room, and get more people engaged in the entrepreneurial process, whether that's big or small? And I think you're speaking to that exactly, especially throughout the southern part of the state. Alan Letton and I have talked about getting into church basements, in communities of color. How can we get more grassroots to increase that access? I heard recently an ancient parable about a man who got stuck in a deep canyon and had tried for days to get out of the canyon and just could not figure it out, was running out of food and water. And a counselor comes to the rim of the canyon and yells down, "I'm so sorry you're stuck in the canyon. Would you like to talk about this?" And then a financier comes along to the rim of the canyon, and he says, "What's going on down there?" He says, "I'm stuck. I need out of the canyon." And he throws money down at him and says, "The money will help you get out of the canyon." And then the town mentor comes along and says, "What's going on?" He says, "I'm stuck in this canyon. I've been here for days." And before the person could even finish sharing his problem, the mentor was down in the canyon with them. And at first he said, "Well, this is a disaster. Now we're both stuck in this canyon." He said, No, I've been here before, and I'm going to show you how we're going to get out of this canyon." And so I keep wondering, to truly increase access to entrepreneurship, how do we get down in the trenches with people and really accompany one another? De-risk might be the fancier term, but accompany and get down in the dirt and truly meet people where they are, wherever that may be, to grow this ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. And that leads me to my next question, so I'll keep it going with you, Brandon. So what role specifically do you higher education play in creating a sustainable ecosystem? And then Amber, I'll ask you about K through 12, but what is Marshall doing? What can the higher education side of things, what can we do to get down in the trenches and to help folks?
Well, for one thing, we're a huge buyer of products. And so I think sometimes it can't just be buy the cheapest product, but maybe in support of the local economy, we do get down in the trenches and work with a local entrepreneur for the sake of the local economy. Then I think when it comes to students, we've got to do a better job of getting students off the campus. I think higher education has got to be a community-based proposition as far as 2024 moving forward. I like the feedback earlier that we don't really all agree on what it means to be an entrepreneur. Part of that is it's not a job title. It is so hard. It is so hard and lonely, and the doubt that comes with it, and the failure that almost inevitably comes with it, and the risk that you're taking, and the burden that can put on your family. And so with students, we've got to find a way to make it more real. It's not just the concepts, but it's applying those concepts in really, really tough environments in our hills and hollers, again, up throughout the southern part of the state. And so I think it's higher ed's role. You're starting to see this, but we got a 10X it. It's got to get off the campus and out in the hills and hollers.
Yeah, absolutely. Amber, K through 12.
Yeah, I'll build on that. I think as resource providers, we're in the business of resources, and I think we at the Adventure Group often think of ourselves as in the business of relationships. You often hear in education that one caring adult can change a student's life. And I would challenge all of you to be that caring adult for the students in your communities and show them, you also hear you cannot be what you cannot see. So if we have our small businesses, our entrepreneurs going out into our K-12 communities and getting engaged, you are literally changing their trajectory and their thoughts about what they can do in the future. And so that would be my challenge to us as resource providers, is to also think about how can we be that mentor, how can we be that coach, how can we be that relationship, and not put that all on the teachers or the school systems to do, but how can we partner with them to help the teachers adopt that entrepreneurial mindset and have that presence, so that I think about your example in Mingo County, like we all know can point to somebody in our upbringing that has led us to where we are. So I challenge that to be an entrepreneur or small business owner for our students.
Amber, can you share the story that you said earlier?
Oh gosh.
She might cry. She's hormonal, but
Which one?
the guy from 8 years ago that said you changed his life.
Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah, I probably will cry.
Sorry, I just blew that story for you. But
We had and again I want to say thank you to Doc Allen, Letton, and Huntington Bank for yesterday's just powerful pre-conference, Seeds for Growth, Growing Black Business in West Virginia. I had the pleasure of inviting Mabry Davis, who is with New West Virginia, and he's doing Seed Commons and just doing incredible work in the community of West Side and Charleston. And after the event, he came up and he hugged me and he thanked me for 8 years ago believing in him and being somebody that made him think it was possible. I'm getting emotional. I did yesterday too, because I think that's what I'm talking about. Like, be that person for somebody. So.
yeah. Thank you.
Tara.
Thank you. That was beautiful. I don't know if anyone else is tearing up, but okay. All right. Final question while Amber dries up over there. Okay. What is an area of opportunity you see for entrepreneurship in the state? And Roz, let's start with you, and maybe Amber will be done crying by the time we get to the end.
I think with the funding that recently has become available, I think that we can, because West Virginians, we work together. We support one another. And I think that the more programs we have that offer education, as far as Amber was saying, I think that's very important to educate. And yeah.
Brandon?
I think I'm pretty excited lately about light manufacturing or even heavier manufacturing. I think we're a state that we're happy to work with our hands. Sometimes we'll take on the jobs other places might not want to take on, and we're makers and creators. And so really excited about manufacturing and even at the smaller level. I think sometimes we think manufacturing, we think massive million-square-foot plant. But I think there's some niche opportunities within manufacturing where West Virginia can shine.
I'll say two things. One bucket is things that address our greatest wounds, which I mentioned earlier: abandoned mine reclamation, renewable energy, sort of healing our people in general. Those are the things that have my heart. I think also the other bucket that has my head is the massive amount of entrepreneurs that do exist currently that are hungry for innovative ideas. And so an example of that is we developed a reuse corridor that is not just nonprofits being fluty-tooty recycling and just doing good for the sake of doing good, but collecting materials that would have gone into the Ohio River and capturing them in a recycling process that then gives them to those recyclers that are local. Taylor Iron and Metals is one of them here in town, that they're engaging with nonprofit works, they're engaging with community outreach now, where they were very much well, you just bring it to me, that's the business model. You bring it to me and I'll pay for it. But now they're going out into communities and they're collecting it and they're bringing it in. And so investing just that little bit of innovative permission to work together and think outside the box and do good while you're doing it as well. We don't all have to be triple bottom line entrepreneurs to do good and be innovative, and we need to bring everyone else along with us too. I
think I'll build on that because you talk about existing businesses and helping them be more innovative. something that we're really interested in is looking at succession planning. We have a lot of aging small business owners in our community that are looking to transfer that business onto a young person, but the young folks aren't getting the entrepreneurial skills and training. So something that I'm really excited about is our work that we've been doing with the Appalachian Regional Commission, with Tara, you and Carrie, and the team over at WVU at Marshall to create that CTE Innovation and Entrepreneurship Pathway, and helping to matchmake for our emerging technical graduates that have good skills, create mentorship opportunities for them so that they can acquire a business that might be leaving a community, so we don't have even more gaps than we already have. So that's something that I'm really excited by, is this idea of entrepreneurship by acquisition and helping empower that transition of business to a new generation of entrepreneurs.
Yeah. One question? Sure. Yeah. We have time. Yeah. Does anyone from the audience have a question? I can run over and bring the mic. Any questions? Oh, we got one.
Thank you. I'm Jasper Ball. So I actually know a couple of people that work over at Refresh Appalachia, people from Logan and Mingo County. And it's been great to see people actually want to live in Logan County. And my roommate is from Mingo County, and he thinks it's surprising when I go up there. I'm like, you explain this stuff to me, I think it's pretty cool. Coming from a guy from Charleston who didn't grow up there, and they're like, everybody else is leaving. But I think one of the things that I wanted to raise up, as far as all the entrepreneurship ecosystem stuff goes, is, I have friends and people that I've said, you're underemployed. You have the ambition to do things, but it's just never worked out that you've been able to get connected to those resources and things. I just found out the other day, I've been telling people to go call the union halls and try to get these apprenticeships and things, but it turns out, you try to call the union hall, you're never going to get a call back. And then it turns out that what you're actually supposed to do is go to the Department of Health and Human Resources on the second floor in Huntington. It's things like that in practice it works like that. I'm a grant writer over in Eastern Kentucky. I live in Huntington. I would like to work in West Virginia, but I'm not going to get into that. Yeah, sorry. I'm getting to it. I can ramble. I apologize. I lost my train of thought, but let me reel it back in. Yeah, it's gone. I'm sorry.
You let me know if he comes back to you. Okay. All right. We got a question, Sarah Biller. I'm coming to you.
You all, what an amazing panel. You're so inspirational. I'm kind of interested in the crystal ball. So you're each in your initiatives, you're contemplating the future. What does West Virginia look like in 3 to 5 years if we succeed?
For me, most of my life is focused on the southern part of the state, which has been, mostly one, not exclusively, but mostly one thing for a long time. And for the last 10 years, a lot of times people would say, what's going to replace coal, as if it was this one-to-one proposition. And really, my hope for the future is that it's actually hundreds of different viable sectors, and this diversified startup ecosystem is what flourishes. And so not getting hung up on this one industry or that one industry, but truly investing in entrepreneurs of all different types, so it's finally a diversified economy.
Any other?
Work myself out of a job.
Preach. We say that all the time. At Adventure, we often work ourselves out of our projects because we try to build the sustainability of those to carry on without us. I like to call us vanishing mediators. Like, we come in, you need somebody to help navigate, hold your hand, and coach you and be your mentor through it, and then work ourselves out of it. I think for me it would be 3 to 5 years. I would love to see every student in West Virginia have some form of entrepreneurship education sustainably in their classroom. I just think that that's something that we can reach in 3 to 5 years easily, just through the partnerships here. And to the gentleman there, I think I want to reassure you that at the ecosystem, we are not just trying to talk the talk, but we're also trying to walk the walk and make sure that we're demystifying the processes. I think the work of the subcommittees is really geared towards that. And so I can understand the frustration of being sent to several different resources, and making sure that we can make that as easy as possible is a high priority for us. So I think that's what you were getting to, and I totally can relate, and we want to make sure that we're providing opportunities for the underemployed, the hard to employ. All of that, I think, fits under the entrepreneurship umbrella. So I just want to reassure you that we hear you, and we are definitely working towards that with the subcommittees.
I agree with you as far as the students and self-employment. I think that 3 to 5 years, I would love to see more educational programs for students that are in high school or even middle school that are geared towards entrepreneurship, geared towards startup of a new business, that are geared towards how to get the proper funding for your business, where to begin. So those things are very essential, and I don't feel like they are being taught as much as they should in the school system, the public and private schools. And I know that most kids, in my opinion, when they do graduate, they're not prepared for life skills, things they should know that parents and teachers can work together and help them to, be successful pre-teens or adults. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Education is super important. So we are winding down here. I think we can just go through one more time. Any final thoughts? Thank you all to the panelists. Roz, let's start with you and go this way. So any final thoughts before we close out?
No, just thank you guys for having me on the panel. It's been a pleasure. I was very nervous, I will be honest. I don't really enjoy public speaking, so this was a challenge for me, but being an entrepreneur and a small business owner, these are things we have to do to learn and grow, and thank you, Tricia, for pushing me to do this. So
thank you for being here. Brandon?
Yeah, thanks. It's a big body of work to organize something like this, so thank you. And the last, I love the emphasis on bridging, and I wonder too, we've got some major sort of top-down investments. I mean, we got Nucors of the world, we got Berkshire Hathaway, renewable energies of the world, just massive investments. How can we bridge to those supply chains to help local, smaller entrepreneurs tap into those bigger, multi-$100 million type deals?
Yeah.
I think it would be awesome, too, if there was some sort of way to reshape the narrative around, I'll just use the term liabilities in Appalachia. If half our downtowns are brownfield sites, half the acreage in our region is abandoned mine land sites. I'm a bit of a broken record about this, but those are things that nobody historically wants to touch, but that's where all the funding is around to remediate. That's where all the pain is at for communities. That's where all the poisoning and frustration and devaluing of the home quality of the communities is at. And so if there's a way to create a pipeline of, hey, you're an entrepreneur, you want to start something, you want to have a brick and mortar business, here's a brownfield cleanup grant for that project. Here's some technical assistance to figure out what it looks like to get that taken care of. Here's this model to get you on track to put solar on the roof. There's all these different resources. It took me 6 years working in coalfield to be able to really understand it and put it all together. And folks don't really have that comfortability at that time because they've got families and day jobs, and it takes too long to really get all that lined up. So if there's a way that we can really patchwork quilt this all together, I think we'll get out of our own way.
I have two. I would love to petition to respell the word entrepreneurship. It's very challenging, particularly for students. It's a very hard word. Second, I would say that if we could maybe, we talked about access to resources and making sure, if we could also make access to the understanding of what an entrepreneur is and make that something that's accessible, and they see that as as the mom and pop shops in their communities, as the folks that are doing boots and groundwork in their community, instead of automatically thinking Silicon Valley and this unattainable goal. That would be something that I'd really like to see is make it start hyper local, start there, and then let's build us to the next Silicon Valley that everyone else wants to be. So that would be my challenge to us.
All right, thank you so much. Let's give our final panel a big round of applause.
All right, we have just a couple of other closing announcements that we're really excited about. So, can you guys transition it to this feed? Thank you. So we just want to say, a big thank you to everyone that's been here today. This is, I think it was Brandon that said this is a labor of love, but honestly, genuinely, it would not be possible with our incredible staff. So I just want to give a huge shout out to the folks at Adventure. Raise your hand.
Thank Cova girls,
Jen,
were you? Yes. Thank
to
you.
our tech.
Zach.
Yeah, I mean, all of you, genuinely, Tara and I could not do it without you, and so that is first and foremost. I think the most important thing we wanted to say is you guys are our girls, so and our guys, and our guys. Zach. So we have a couple of announcements. We have our host site. Yep. So Tara, you want to announce where we're going?
All right, we are heading to. Well, I've told a lot of people, so we're heading to the Eastern Panhandle. Jim, you want to come? Woo! You want to come up and say a few words? I just want to say they did a heck of an interview. I mean, you came up and you pulled out all the stops. We had Martinsburg, Shepherdstown. We had all of these, all of the people, the resource providers. We had entrepreneurs. We had transportation. I mean, you guys really thought of everything. So
we got a little nervous. We sent a calendar invite and it was forwarded 10 times. We were like, oh, no. All right, Jim, take it away.
So I don't have a lot to say other than we really are excited to have you in the Eastern Panhandle. I've talked to Tara about this for a few years. I put out an email to the government agencies, to the city, to the county, to the university, and just overwhelming positive response. So we're glad to see you there. It's definitely a growing area of the state. Probably excited to see that. And on top of that, if there's anything you want, speak up, get a hold of us. If there's something special you want there, and I encourage you maybe spend a couple extra days and have some fun while you're there. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Woo!
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, you take it.
Thank you.
Just jump. It's fine.
Oh man, we don't have a jumping liability built into. Okay, so that was our first exciting announcement. The second is we have been just so grateful for the Department of Economic Development and Commerce Communications helping us throughout the last 3 years to really amp up Bridging Innovation Week and the work that we're doing with the West Virginia entrepreneurship ecosystem. And we were long overdue for a rebrand. So we are going to be rebranding and we have a new logo. So I want to say thank you to Commerce Communications for this. So over the next few months, we're going to be working on a communication strategy. We want to hear from the resource providers on what's the best way to all cohesively move forward on this communication strategy to make sure that we're going. So we're really excited about this, and just a public shout out, Matt, to your team at Commerce Communications.
Yeah, woo! Andy, Joanna,
Yeah, Andy, Joanna, everyone at Commerce Communications has been an absolute blessing to work with, and we are so grateful for the partnership. So we're really excited about that. Tara's going to walk us through tonight's meet and mingles, and then we're wrapping it up.
Okay, so let's hit the streets. Let's go have a good time. So we've got a lot of things going on. So we have artists. If you are interested, you guys are going to be at the cellar door. We've got the tech meetup. James, he's on the phone.
Dominica.
He's on the phone, but he's here. Dominica.
Follow
he's waving.
James from the hallway.
Yeah, so they're going to the Summit Beer Station. We have a veterans meetup. Desiree is here. So they're going to Black Sheep. Let's see, where you guys can go hang out with Victor Wang and the Right to Start crew. They're going to be at SIP. We have the Young Professionals. They are going to be at La Fontaine's. So thank you, Generation West Virginia, First Ascent, and Ascend West Virginia for that. And then, of course, Country Roads Angel Network will be having a private dinner tonight and a happy hour as well. Did I hit them all?
Yep. And then we would, if you all are staying over, please feel free to pop in. Competition days tomorrow. We have the business model competition demo that Marshall's holding tonight with their entrepreneurs. Then we have Spark West Virginia, which the adventure group leads for middle and high school students, followed by Ignite for 18 and up, and then wrapping it up with the Hayhurst Invitational. So tomorrow's in and out. You want to hear some great pitches, you're more than welcome to attend and visit any of those. But thank you.
Thank you. All right.
All
Thanks,
right,
everyone.
guys. Thank you.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.